Did you know that a humble penny from 1983 could be worth thousands of dollars today? Yes, thousands. But only if you know what to look for. That's right, a single penny sitting in your pocket right now might just hold the key to a small fortune. This isn't just about a lucky find, it's about understanding the story behind one of America's most fascinating coins. Today, we're diving deep into the 1983 US penny, a coin with secrets so valuable, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to spot the rare ones, reveal their jaw-dropping value, and uncover a mistake so shocking that collectors can't believe it actually happened. Let's take a step back for a moment. What makes the 1983 penny so intriguing? To understand its significance, we need to go back to 1982, a pivotal year in U.S. coin production. Rising copper costs were causing problems for the U.S. Mint. At the time, pennies were made primarily of copper, but as the price of copper increased, the cost of making pennies started exceeding their actual value. Imagine that, producing a coin worth 1 cent was costing more than 1 cent. To solve this problem, the U.S. Mint made a crucial decision. They transitioned from using primarily copper to a new material, zinc. Starting in 1982, pennies were made with a core of 97.5% zinc and just a thin outer coating of copper, but here's where it gets interesting. The transition wasn't perfectly smooth. During this time, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks, and 1983 became the year of some of the most fascinating errors and rarities in modern coinage. Why 1983? Because it was the first full year of production with the new zinc composition, and with any big change comes opportunities for mistakes that would later become treasures. The standard 1983 penny follows the classic design, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. These pennies were minted in massive quantities, with billions produced. But hidden among these billions are a few special coins that defy the ordinary. They're not just pennies, they're anomalies that have captivated collectors and sparked countless treasure hunts. One of the most sought-after features of the 1983 penny is the double die error. This occurs during the minting process when a coin's design is accidentally stamped twice, slightly off-center. The result? Key details like the word Liberty or the date 1983 appear doubled, as if they're casting shadows. These errors are striking, literally, and they make the coin stand out from the crowd. While a regular 1983 penny might be worth just 1 cent, a double die error can fetch hundreds, even thousands, depending on its condition, but that's just the beginning. Let's talk about the holy grail of modern pennies, the 1983 copper penny. By 1983, all pennies were supposed to be made of zinc with a copper coating. However, a few pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982. These rare coins defy the odds and command staggering prices at auction. How staggering? One of these pennies sold for over $23,000. Yes, you heard that right, $23,000 for a single penny. The idea that a mistake like this could slip through and later become so valuable is nothing short of incredible. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I've found a 1983 copper penny? The answer lies in the weight. A standard zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, while a copper penny weighs 3.1 grams. If you have a digital scale, you can easily test the weight of your pennies. It's a small detail, but it's the difference between a penny and a potential life-changing discovery. Imagine weighing a handful of coins and realizing one of them feels just a bit heavier. That moment could be the start of something extraordinary. But before you rush to check your change jar, let's explore another fascinating error, the 1983 double die penny. As I mentioned earlier, these errors occurred during the minting process, but the way they capture the imagination of collectors is unmatched. The doubling effect creates a unique, almost ghostly appearance, as if the letters and numbers are vibrating on the surface of the coin. While these errors aren't as rare as the copper pennies, they're still highly valuable. Even in average condition, a 1983 double die penny can sell for hundreds of dollars. In pristine condition? The sky's the limit. So, how can you identify a rare penny among the countless ordinary ones? First, you'll need the right tools. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe is essential for spotting fine details, like doubling on the text or date. A digital scale will help you confirm the weight of your pennies, which is crucial for identifying copper coins. And a good coin reference guide can provide additional insights into what to look for and how to determine a coin's value. When inspecting your pennies, pay close attention to the date and mint mark. Look for any unusual textures or patterns, especially around the edges of the design. If you think you found a double die error, compare it to verified examples online or in coin guides. The key is patience and a sharp eye. Remember, these rare pennies didn't become valuable by being easy to spot. They're treasures hidden in plain sight. Now, let's say you found a coin that looks promising. What's your next move? The first step is to have it authenticated by a professional grading service, such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations can confirm whether your coin is genuine and assign it a grade based on its condition. A high grade can significantly increase the value of your coin, so professional authentication is worth the investment. Once your coin is authenticated, you have several options for selling it. Auctions are a popular choice, especially for rare and valuable coins. Many collectors prefer auctions because they can drive up the price through competitive bidding. Another option is selling directly to coin dealers or private collectors. Online marketplaces, like eBay, can also be a good platform for reaching a wide audience, but be cautious of scammers and always verify buyer credentials. One word of warning: avoid cleaning your coin, no matter how tempting it might be. Cleaning can damage the surface and significantly reduce its value. Collectors and grading services prefer coins in their original, unaltered state, even if they show signs of wear. A natural patina adds to a coin's authenticity and appeal. At this point, you might be wondering if it's worth the effort to sift through your change jar or visit your local coin shop. Let me tell you, it absolutely is. The 1983 penny is a testament to the idea that small details can have a big impact. A single mistake at the US Mint has turned these coins into valuable treasures, waiting to be discovered. And the best part? You don't need to be a seasoned collector to find one. All it takes is curiosity, a little knowledge, and the willingness to look closely at the coins you handle every day. One final thought before we wrap up. There's one more fascinating 1983 penny error we didn't cover, an error so rare it's barely documented. Want to know what it is? Let me know in the comments, and we'll cover it in a future video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, don't forget to like this video if you learned something new, subscribe for more fascinating coin stories and tips, and check your pockets, because one of these rare 1983 pennies could literally change your life. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing that this tiny, worn-out coin is worth a life-changing fortune. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you there's a 1969 penny out there, one that looks almost identical to every other penny you've ever seen, yet it could be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars? The crazy part? Most people who own it don't even realize it. The 1969 double die obverse penny is one of the most legendary error coins in American history. And here's the thing, there could be one hiding in your old coin jar, sitting in your grandpa's collection, or mixed in with your everyday spare change. The only question is, do you know what to look for? Because missing the small but crucial details could mean throwing away a fortune. But before we reveal the key signs that make this penny worth a jaw-dropping amount, let's talk about why this coin exists in the first place. Every year, the US Mint produces billions of coins. Mistakes happen, but very few ever escape into circulation. In 1969, something incredibly rare occurred, a mistake so shocking that even the Secret Service got involved. Yes, you heard that right. The US government started seizing these pennies, believing they were part of a counterfeiting operation. But how did a simple penny become the center of a federal investigation? It all starts with a minting error known as the double die obverse. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice on the die, causing elements of the text and imagery to appear doubled. And in the case of the 1969 penny, this doubling was so clear and distinct that when collectors started finding them, they thought they had stumbled upon fake money. That's when the Secret Service stepped in. They began confiscating these coins under the assumption they were being mass-produced illegally. But after a detailed investigation, they discovered the truth: these were not fakes at all, they were a legitimate error from the US Mint. By the time they stopped seizing them, only a handful of these coins had survived. So how do you know if you have one of these ultra-rare pennies? The secret is in the details. First, look at the word "Liberty" on the left side of the coin. If you notice a clear, distinct doubling, almost like a shadow behind each letter, you might have struck gold. Next, check "In God We Trust" at the top. The doubling here is unmistakable, especially on the letters IN and God. And finally, inspect the date. The 1969 itself should also have visible doubling, making it look slightly blurry or stretched, but here's the catch: many people confuse machine doubling with a true double die. Machine doubling is a much more common effect that happens when the coin shifts slightly during the striking process, causing a slight, flattened duplication. A true double die, on the other hand, will have clear, rounded, and separated doubling. Now, before you get too excited and start cashing in your old coins, there's something you absolutely must know. There are fakes out there. Lots of them. Counterfeiters have tried for years to replicate the 1969 double die, hoping to fool collectors and even experienced dealers. But there are 3 ways to spot a fake before you fall into a costly trap. First, check for the S mint mark under the date. This particular penny was only minted in San Francisco, so if your coin doesn't have the small s below the 1969 date, it's not the real deal. Second, use a magnification test. The doubling on an authentic 1969 double die will be crisp, clear, and distinct, unlike the choppy, blurry lines seen in counterfeits. And third, weigh your penny. A genuine 1969 penny should weigh exactly 3.11 grams, anything more or less could be a red flag. So let's say you've checked your penny, and all signs point to it being the real thing. Now, the question is, how much is it worth? Get ready, because this is where things get insane. One collector sold their 1969 double die penny at auction for $126,500. Another, in pristine condition, went for $193,875. And as the demand for rare error coins continues to rise, experts predict that one of these pennies could easily break the $500,000 mark in the near future. Imagine holding a small copper coin in your hand, knowing it's worth more than a house. But if you think that's crazy, here's where it gets even better. There are still undiscovered 1969 double die pennies out there. Some estimates suggest that less than 100 of these coins exist today, which means the odds of finding one are slim, but not impossible. And when there's a known shortage of a collectible, prices can skyrocket into the millions. So where should you start looking? The best place is your own home. Check your old piggy banks, your childhood coin collections, or those dusty jars of change in the kitchen drawer. Many of these pennies were unknowingly spent decades ago, meaning they could still be circulating. And if you really want to increase your chances, consider searching bank-wrapped rolls of pennies. Some collectors buy entire boxes of unsearched pennies in hopes of finding valuable errors, and some have struck gold. But before you rush off to start your treasure hunt, let me leave you with one final, crucial tip. If you think you found a 1969 double die, do not clean it. Ever. Cleaning a coin, even if it looks old and dirty, can cut its value in half or worse. Collectors and auction houses want coins in their natural state, no matter how worn they appear. And here's something to think about. What if I told you that this isn't even the rarest penny out there? Yes, the 1969 double die is valuable, but there's another penny that might be worth even more, one that most collectors don't even know exists. If you want to find out what it is and how to check if you have one, be sure to stay tuned. Because the next rare coin we uncover, it could make you a millionaire. Imagine a gleaming copper disc spins in slow motion, catching the light just right as it rotates against a backdrop of darkness. The year 1964 comes into sharp focus, and suddenly, what seems like just another penny transforms into something extraordinary. What if I told you that this simple coin, one you might have tossed into a jar or passed along without a second thought, could be worth a fortune? This isn't just any penny, this is the 1964 Lincoln cent, and its story is about to change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. You might be wondering why I'm so excited about a penny from 1964. Well, hold on to your seats, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal secrets about this coin that could make you rush to check every penny in your possession. The year was 1964. America was changing. The Beatles had just invaded our shores, the Civil Rights Act was signed into law, and in our nation's mints, something remarkable was happening. You see, 1964 wasn't just another year for American coinage, it was the last stand of an era that would never return. As the silver crisis loomed and the cost of precious metals skyrocketed, the U.S. Mint was about to undergo one of the most significant transformations in its history. The 1964 penny stood at the crossroads of this change, making it not just a coin, but a witness to history. But here's where things get really interesting, and trust me, you'll want to pay attention to this part. Among the billions of pennies minted that year, there exists a handful so rare, so uniquely different, that their discovery could fund your retirement. I'm not exaggerating when I say that some variations of this penny have sold for prices that would make your jaw drop. Just imagine, while millions of Americans were going about their daily lives, passing these pennies back and forth, a few special ones slipped through the cracks of quality control. These weren't just mistakes, they were million-dollar accidents waiting to be discovered. The design itself, crafted by the brilliant Victor David Brenner, tells only part of the story. When you look at a 1964 penny, you're seeing Lincoln's profile, yes, but what most people don't know is that hidden within the subtle details of that design lie clues that could identify an incredibly valuable variant. Take a closer look at the mint marks. Philadelphia and Denver were busy that year, churning out pennies by the millions. But here's the thing, some of these pennies came out different. I'm talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and variations so subtle that you'd need a magnifying glass to spot them. But trust me, once you know what to look for, these tiny differences could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth thousands. Let me tell you about something that happened just last year. A collector, just an ordinary person like you or me, was going through an old jar of pennies they'd inherited from their grandmother. Among the countless copper coins was a 1964 penny that looked just a little bit off. That single coin ended up selling at auction for a price that could have bought a luxury car. But hold on, because we're about to dive into something even more incredible. There's a legend in the coin collecting world, a story that's been whispered about for decades. It's about a specific 1964 D penny, one that shouldn't exist, one that could be worth more than any other penny ever minted. This isn't just another coin collecting story. This is about a penny that, if found, could rewrite numismatic history. The story goes that somewhere out there, possibly sitting in someone's pocket right now, is a 1964 D penny with a unique copper composition that makes it the holy grail of penny collecting. Why is this particular penny so special? Well, that's where our story takes an fascinating turn. During the mint's transition period, there were rumors of experimental compositions being tested. A handful of these pennies might have slipped into circulation. Might have, because to this day, not a single one has been verified to exist. Think about that for a moment. In a world where every coin seems to have been discovered and catalogued, there's still a possibility that this legendary penny is out there, waiting to be found. And if it exists? We're talking about a coin that could be worth millions. This isn't just speculation. Top numismatists have spent careers searching for this coin. They've developed theories about where it might be, how many might exist, and what they might look like. The hunt has become almost mythical in collector circles, driving prices of all 1964 pennies higher as people hope they might have the one. But here's what makes this even more exciting: you don't need to find this legendary penny to strike it rich. Regular 1964 pennies, if they have the right characteristics, can be worth thousands. I'm talking about double dies, where the design appears to be stamped twice, creating a ghost-like effect. Or off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly centered on the coin. Let me give you some insider tips on what to look for. First, check the mint mark. If it's from Denver, you'll see a small D below the date. Philadelphia pennies have no mint mark. But don't stop there. Get yourself a good magnifying glass, at least 5x magnification, and look closely at Lincoln's ear. This is where the most valuable double dies show up. You'll want to look at the lettering too, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see any doubling, any shadowing effect at all, you might have something special. And here's a tip most people don't know: the color of your penny matters more than you might think. The most valuable 1964 pennies have retained their original red copper color, what collectors call full red. But perhaps the most exciting part of all this is that these valuable pennies are still out there. They're sitting in penny jars, piggy banks, and old coin collections across the country. Every day, someone somewhere could be handling a fortune without even knowing it. I've heard stories of people finding valuable 1964 pennies in the most unexpected places. One collector found a double die worth thousands in a roll of pennies from his local bank. Another discovered a significant error coin at a yard sale, mixed in with ordinary pocket change. These stories aren't just legends, they're happening right now, to real people. The tools you need to start hunting for these valuable pennies are simple: a magnifying glass, good lighting, and maybe a basic coin guide. But the most important tool? Knowledge. Knowing exactly what to look for can make all the difference. Check bank rolls, coin shop bins, and yes, even that jar of pennies on your dresser. Look at flea markets and estate sales. Remember, every 1964 penny you find is worth checking, because you never know, you might be holding the one that changes everything. So here's my challenge to you: after this video, take a few minutes to check your change. Really look at those pennies you've been ignoring. Because somewhere out there, maybe even in your pocket right now, could be a 1964 penny worth a fortune. Think about it: how many pennies have you handled without really looking at them? How many potential treasures have slipped through your fingers? Well, that changes today. Now you know what to look for, and more importantly, you know what's possible. Before you go, here's one last thought that might keep you up at night. Every single day, valuable 1964 pennies are being spent as regular currency, dropped into tip jars, or tossed into fountain wishes. The next one could be yours. If you know what you're looking for. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because next week, we're diving into an even more incredible story: a coin so rare, its value could buy you a house. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. This is your moment. The hunt is on. Will you be the one to find the next legendary 1964 penny? Drop a comment below if you've ever found something valuable in your change, and let's start a treasure hunting community right here. Until next time, keep your eyes on those pennies, because you never know which one might change your life forever. Remember, every great discovery starts with someone who was paying attention. Will you be next? The answer might be sitting in your pocket right now.